Don't forget to push that like button as it does help out the channel. And if you are new here, hit the subscribe button and enable all notifications so you don't miss a single video. And I thank you for 7 years of support. We all knew the clock was ticking. We all knew the Granolah arc was wrapping up and that a new arc for Dragon Ball Super would begin shortly. But I don't know if anybody could have predicted that not only would the Granolah arc come to an end in Dragon Ball Super Manga Chapter 87, but that it would come to an end the way that it did, with the specific parameters of what happened. Many of us thought that Frieza would show up, if just for a cameo, at the end of the arc. Many of us believed that the true villain of this story would end up being OG-73, rebuilt, or possibly even Elec, and that there was something else going on. Well, there was something else going on, but it wasn't quite that. Let's talk about Chapter 87. So in the previous manga chapter, Granolah, Goku, and Vegeta had worked together to defeat Gas, who had used the Dragon Balls to make himself the strongest in the universe, and with the combined efforts of the three, they were able to get the job done. Granolah is, of course, starting to feel the wear and tear on his body from these battles. Remember, the wish that Granolah and Gas made inflated their strength, but also shortened their lifespan. And because of that, Gas started getting really old really fast, and Granolah started to feel the effects, feeling very sick, not very well, injured almost, because he put so much power into the blast that wound up putting Gas down for the count. The creator of the Cerulean Dragon Balls, Monaito, came over and was on his way to healing Granolah and Goku and Vegeta, and discovered that he now has the ability to actually heal them back to full strength. I guess the way it's explained is that the more he uses his healing ability, the stronger it gets, kind of like working out a muscle. And I'm not sure if that's the case for all Namekians, but for Monaito it certainly was, and thus Goku, Vegeta, and Granolah were all back to full strength and healed up. But then suddenly, the manga took a dark twist for the worse, as a huge energy blast pierced through Monaito's chest, and he fell down, apparently dead. It was revealed that this was the blast of a barely alive, barely surviving Gas, who at this point had become so decrepit and so just utterly decaying from his body aging that he was damn near a skeleton in a zombified state, focused on just getting revenge for all the damage he received in the battle with Goku, Vegeta, and Granolah. There are both good and bad about this. The good is that Toyotaro gets to show off some pretty unique looking characteristics, some we haven't really seen in Dragon Ball very much. The aesthetic of a zombie-like character whose body is barely hanging on but able to still use power, while also, you know, giving us an interesting new idea to think about when it comes to Dragon Ball wishes. However, the truth is that when it comes to storytelling, it's not really something I really wanted, because I thought we were done with Gas, and here we go again with Gas round number 13 at this point. It's not all bad. Goku and Vegeta power up to their new forms, but Gas simply just smashes their heads together and begins to kind of whoop up on them relatively easy. So even though they got their powers healed back up to full, Gas is still stronger, which is a little bit weird, but I guess he's really at the brink of dying this time. I would guess that it's the only way to explain it, but it's also a little bit annoying. I've told you guys before about how a lot of people say that this arc reads better if you marathon it. If you read the entire thing from start to finish, or at least as far as it's gotten, you can better easily read through it, and it becomes a more enjoyable read. I have not done that yet. So right now for me, and for many of you, it's a month-by-month thing. So all I'm seeing is another month of Gas, but it does not last. So Gas is, again, back in the fold for a time. But even Vegeta comments that it doesn't even feel like they're fighting a living being at this point. It's like they're fighting living dead. He doesn't say that part. I added that last part in there, but still, that's what it sounds like. And while this is going on, Monaito and Granolah have their very sad moment where Granolah begins to say goodbye to his surrogate father. And at this point, I'm thinking, okay, now Granolah is going to take this seriously. He's going to get back into the battle. he's gonna get vengeance. And that's not what happened. I've been talking to you guys about this for many, many months about how Granolah has to be the one to beat Elec and maybe even beat Gas, but really Elec. He has to kill Elec in order to fully close his arc, getting revenge for the passing of his mom at the hands of Elec, and now another extra twinge of anger from having a surrogate father get killed. But that's not quite what happens. In fact, I would say that if this chapter did anything wrong, if I were to sum it as my least favorite thing about this chapter, it's the fact that Granolah once again became a background character and his own story did not end satisfying. Now, some of you guys are going to think this arc was good, and that's fine. You have a right to your opinion, and I think some of it was good. Don't get me wrong. And I think overall there are some interesting ideas that were thrown in here, but the actual character of Granolah, he does go through an arc, but the arc to me, a character arc, but the character arc to me did not have a satisfying conclusion. More on that in a moment. Speaking of Elec, his treachery is at long last revealed when he pretty much bails on his siblings. He doesn't give a damn about Oil, Mackie, or Gas after, of course, instructing Gas to, go all out and show him how strong you are and he's the greatest warrior in the universe. He dips. And Gas realizes it when he gets called incompetent by Elec, because he realizes something that we knew as readers, but the character of Gas did not know, and that is that Elec does not give a damn about him. And he's only in it for himself. He's a narcissistic sociopath, and all he wants to do is take over Frieza's empire. That's all he wants. That's his goal. And even if he has to use his siblings to get there, he will. Gas realizes how disgusting he looks, and then for just a moment there, you kind of pity him because he kind of comes to terms with the fact that he has become this grotesque monster because of his obsession with winning to please Elec. This was a good little moment, and it was very subtle, and that's something I miss about Dragon Ball, where things that are subtle mean more. You don't have to have everything spelled out for you, and I like that about that moment. Then, in one of the most surprising and unexpected moments of the entirety of Dragon Ball Super, or heck, even the entirety of Dragon Ball, when you really think about it, Frieza shows up, literally out of nowhere. Frieza then proceeds to literally dismantle Gas in what I feel is one of the most grotesque and gory kills ever in Dragon Ball. I mean, this dude literally penetrates this guy with his hand and then rips him in half. This was just unbelievable. Then when you see his face, Gas's face that is, it's like melting into a pure skeleton, and then Frieza does like freaking Darkseid did in the Snyder Cut and just crushes Gas's skull. This scene was absolute hardcore, and it's unfortunate because when this gets adapted to the anime, it's probably, I can't say for sure, but I have a feeling it's not going to be as gory, and that's too bad because I like when they use gore to give you that extra shock value, and I really appreciate how it was used here. Frieza is just ruthless. Then we find out that it was actually Elec who called Frieza to the planet because his plan was to have Gas kill not only Granolah, not only the Saiyans, but also Frieza, and Frieza realizes this. Frieza even calls him out on it. Frieza knew that Elec's plan from the get-go was to take over his freaking empire. He knew it, and he was waiting for the right moment to catch him when he's not looking, to catch him slipping. Frieza appearing in this arc should not be a surprise because his presence has been looming over this arc since the very beginning. Granolah wanted revenge for his people on Frieza, and later would find out that it's not really Frieza's responsibility. It was actually Elec who brought Frieza to his planet to wipe out his civilization. But now Elec and Frieza's relationship is falling apart because Frieza knew the whole time it was a setup, and then Elec makes one of the dumbest mistakes you could ever make. Elec is supposed to be a very highly intelligent character. He's supposed to be a smart manipulator, but he tries to attack Frieza. Now, in one instance I can say, well, maybe he was trying to defend himself. Maybe he thought like he knew he was going to die, so he might as well try something. Frieza blocks the punch and wipes him out and sends him to the next world, to the afterlife. I have to say that this was an awesome moment for Frieza, but when it comes to Granola's character, I feel like this really hurt his character. I think that even though this is the Granolah arc, besides fighting Goku and Vegeta and Gas on different occasions, he really didn't do that much in this arc at all. And his development, I thought, was going somewhere, and I was waiting for him to be the one to kill Elec and finally get his revenge for his mom being wiped out. But no, it was Frieza. Now again, as a Frieza fan, as a fan of like seeing Elec get wiped out, that was great, but it should have freaking been Granolah, man. Granolah should have been the one to do this. It's almost like Granolah is an afterthought, and to me, I feel like that's actually weak writing. I don't like that at all. So, back to the story. So, Vegeta and Goku don't even know what the heck's going on here with Frieza, and they wonder how he's able to beat Gas so easily. We find out that Frieza was not in Universe 7 when the wish was made, and therefore the dragon could not sense Frieza's presence and thus made Gas the strongest in the universe at that time. I was talking about this like 2 years ago when the arc first started, because this is something I knew they were going to pull out, how if somebody is strong, the wish will only count for that moment when they make the wish, not if somebody surpasses, which is why I thought that Goku and Vegeta would surpass Gas and Granolah. But no, instead, Frieza was actually the strongest, and we find out that while he was raiding a planet, he discovered access to the time chamber dimension. That is to say, the room of spirit and time. There are different rooms of spirit and time that are different realms all throughout Dragon Ball in different planets. We've seen Whis access it, we've seen Mirrors access it, and obviously the one that's up in the heavenly realm where we saw Goku, Gohan, Vegeta, and Trunks and Piccolo train in Dragon Ball Z. And of course, Gotenks and Buu and all that stuff. But the point is, Frieza found the Room of Spirit and Time, and he says he trained for about 10 years, which really, if you do the math, it's about 10 or 11 days. So if Frieza could train for 4 months and leapfrog every Dragon Ball Z villain to make Golden Frieza, oh my goodness. How would Frieza, with this body, be able to access this level of power after 10 years of training? This is far and away beyond anything we've seen from Frieza. And they prove it in the very next, section, the very next few panels, because Goku and Vegeta transform into True Ultra Instinct and Ultra Ego respectively, and Frieza literally one-shots them. All this build-up for Ultra Ego and Ultra Instinct, and Frieza, after training for 10 years in the Room of Spirit and Time, has been able to not even break a sweat. So that means that right now in the Dragon Ball universe, it appears like Frieza is once again, like in DBZ, the most powerful villain in the entire series that we know of, because there's more stuff coming, I'm sure, in the future. So at this point, when Frieza does knock them out, he unveils that he has a new transformation, and it's called Black Frieza. So Goku was warned by Vegeta that Frieza, if they kept him alive, would be able to train, have a new form, maybe get an army, and cause trouble. Well, it's happening. The nightmare is a reality. So after that, it's pretty much done. Now, Frieza would then go on to take Oil and Maki and recruit them for his empire, because they're the last two heaters left, since Gas has been killed and Elec has also been killed at the hands of Frieza. Really, really interesting that Frieza now is back to being the tippy-top dog. Was it a little lazy? I guess so, but I am curious about where this story is going to go, because we may have another Frieza arc on our hands or something similar, but I'm real curious about what Goku and Vegeta are going to do. But I'll discuss that in a future video, because now, if you want to power scale Frieza, he may be at God Destruction level, if not higher. We'll talk about that in the future. So Frieza takes Oil and Maki and leaves, with Goku and Vegeta getting up near death, crawling over to Monaito and Granolah, and Monaito is awake. Turns out that Whis appeared and was able to help Monaito and heal him so that he would not die. And then after that is when we kind of say our goodbyes. At this point, the arc is coming to an end. Goku wants to train with Granolah, but Granolah wants to stay there on Planet Cereal with Monaito. Monaito says that he will be disabling the Dragon Balls so that nobody else can use them, because he understands that if they fall into the wrong hands, it can be a real serious problem, like we saw throughout this entire arc. So we predicted this, but it was kind of done differently. The final goodbye is that Vegeta gives Granolah, the Dragon Radar, and then Monaito gives Goku Bardock's Scouter as a memento of, of who Goku's father was. And then the actual ending of the story, like the last few panels, Whis takes off with Goku and Vegeta, going back to Beerus' planet, traveling back, and they ask him straight up, they say, is Frieza the strongest in the universe that the Oracle Fish had predicted? And he says that he doesn't think so, but maybe somewhere in this universe a stronger warrior has been born. Now that right there is a teaser for something big. Could it be Gohan? Could it be that? Probably not. I feel like it's a new character or somebody we don't know of yet or don't expect, rather than actually Frieza. So the chapter ends with them going to begin training once again because Frieza is now deadlier than he's ever been. And the training never ends. So overall, the chapter had a couple of really big highs. Frieza killing people was awesome. Black Frieza and what he did to Goku and Vegeta was kind of cool for the character, but overall, it wasn't a terrible ending in the grand scheme of Dragon Ball. Like, it wasn't as bad as like the Trunks arc ending, but the fact that Granolah did not get his revenge, it does bug me. Maybe not you guys, but to me, I think they've kind of hurt the character. He became a side player. He became a sidelined character in his own arc when you get past the first half of it. It really became like the Gas show, and you could even call this the Gas arc because I felt like in the last half of this arc, he really did a lot. Whereas Granolah, I felt he was wasted. I felt like he was kind of an unnecessary character. Yes, he did get a character arc. He definitely got that, but it was missing that last piece of the puzzle to give us that grand satisfaction. So once again, we're going into the cycle where Toyotaro will give us something good, and now all we can do is cross our fingers and hope that he doesn't screw it up, because let me tell you, he has a history of doing that as well. With that being said, this chapter, I liked some of it, I disliked some of it. What did you think? We'll talk more about it in the coming days and weeks. Take care of yourself and each other. See you later.